We live in a world of duality, different views, different ways, different thought patterns, different understandings, a way we have been raised, our conditioning, all are evident and thus comprise us of the world in which we live in, the experiences that we face, and the way we see our way through life. We are all hardwired in a different way. You have your way, I have my way. We may think your way is right, the other way is wrong, but ultimately we have to look at the nature of each individual and which perspective that individual has and why. Could it be their upbringing, their natural conditioning, or overall a different view of life based on the way they have come across life? Now, we have all our different ways of understanding right and wrong. The key aspect is that we have to first understand the notion of tolerance and acceptance without compromising the fact that letting ignorance prevail. We live in a world that has conflicts. Conflicts arise. Yes, disagreements are found amongst friends, families, and even those closest to us. Disagreements are natural, but we must first understand and come to a common ground. Agree to disagree. In the spiritual aspects of things, we are taught to be more tolerant than a tree, more humble than a blade of grass. Now, when we are humble and tolerant, we can actually perceive and understand why a certain individual has a certain particular thought pattern. Are we to judge them and then decide for us ourselves what is right or wrong, demean them? Or are we to educate ourselves and thus give a proper conclusion based on their nature and understanding of life? We all come from different walks of life. Those who are practicing the spiritual point of view will have a different method and way of thinking than those who are not. We have a choice. We can lash out, be angry, and thus cause our own imbalances and disrupt our own nature. However, the idea is that if we are tolerant and more educated, then we can come to a proper conclusion. This does not mean we discriminate. But what is discrimination? Discrimination does not mean that we let ignorance prevail. Discrimination is not based on skin color or a particular religious background or any walk of life. But to discriminate means to educate and find out what the facts are. An unbiased point of view, an educated point of view, an objective point of view. We have to tolerate, yet set boundaries. Set boundaries for our own well-being, our own self-esteem, our own way of life that we live by making others more educated about our boundaries. Yes, we are supposed to be more tolerant than a tree, more humble than a blade of grass. We are to follow our spiritual path and get guidance from those who are superior to us. For example, a bona fide spiritual master or guru. And understanding the guru's words, be educated and live the life to uplift others as well as yourself. Be the change you want to see in the world. Yet, educating yourself and not being tolerant of those who are ignorant, especially those towards you. You have a right to educate someone who crosses paths with you and does not respect your boundaries. In order to have a healthy relationship, there has to be boundaries. We are all of a particular nature. We are all hardwired and have a different sense of understanding of what each of our natures should be. Yes, we should tolerate, but we should not do it on surface value, where we will eventually lash out and have a negative experience for those around us as well. Whatever your nature is, live your life, especially to the full spiritual upliftment of you, yourself, those around you, and society. You are the change you wish to see in the world. When we falsely identify ourselves with a particular way of thinking, or even falsely be humble or tolerant, then ultimately it will be of our own benefit. Disillusion. Let's not be disillusioned. Let's be kind to one another, be loving to one another, and most importantly, be humble and open to ourselves. In this connection, there is a story from an ancient scripture called the Srimad Bhagavatam, translated and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder of the Hare Krishna movement. In the 4th canto, 11th chapter, 31st verse, there's a story and purport. The purport is quite simple and to the point. There was once a snake. A snake's nature, or a snake by nature, will bite without a second thought. However, there is this guru, his name is Narada Muni, who's a spiritual instructor for everyone. And he accepted the snake who wanted guidance. So, in this connection, the snake became a devotee upon the instruction of Narada Muni. Narada Muni instructed the snake not to bite anyone anymore, since ordinarily a snake's business is to fatally bite other living entities. But as a devotee, he was forbidden to do so. Now, unfortunately, people took advantage of this non-violence on the part of the snake, especially some children, who began to throw stones at him. He did not bite anyone. However, because it was the instruction of his spiritual master, after a while, the snake finally met his spiritual master, who realized that the snake was battered and bruised. The snake complained to his guru, Narada Muni, "I have given up the bad habit of biting innocent living entities, but they are mistreating me by throwing stones at me." Upon hearing this, Narada Muni instructed him, "Don't bite, but do not forget to expand your hood as if you're going to bite. Then they will go away." Similarly, when we look at our lives, this story is a great example of using our nature to set boundaries, verbal boundaries, and then physical boundaries if necessary. Please consider time, place, and circumstance. Please comment, rate, and share, and go above and beyond. Tolerate, but set boundaries. Until then, see you next time. Just transcend.